The big question is, would he fall to 21? I don't think he would. I don't think that Shedeur makes it all the way to 21. If he does, he's a steal. I mean, I've been told the Steelers would draft a quarterback at 21, even if it's not their most likely position. It is a position on the board for them. It is going to remain a position on the board for them. Shedeur at 21 is really hard to pass up, talent-wise. And if the Steelers are able to use this meeting, which this is what they're going to do, they're going to use this meeting to understand Shedeur Sanders, to understand what that outside noise is going to be, and if it's going to be too loud for them to overcome, if it's going to be too much for them and a team that is already incredibly loud and has some voices that maybe they'd like to already lessen. That could be the case. And if you're able to learn enough about Shedeur Sanders, which by all accounts, okay, I will say that the Steelers, and I have been told that teams have some concerns about if Shedeur Sanders comes with too much outside noise. But I have also been told that Shedeur Sanders is a leader and his teammates love him, and he's a guy that's going to step up in big moments. And okay, great. The Steelers are going to be looking for a lot of that in this pre-draft visit. They're going to be looking to make sure that Shedeur is not just a tie-off of Dion, that those two can be separate, and that Shedeur could just be the Steelers quarterback, the guy who's going to come in here and hopefully lead a franchise for the next 10-plus years. That's what the Steelers are going to learn in this draft or in this visit. And then if he falls to them at 21, what they learn in this pre-draft visit kind of depends on whether or not they feel comfortable taking him. Would they move up for him? Again, it all depends on this draft or this visit. If this visit goes well, maybe. I don't know if you're going all the way to 8. I have a hard time believing the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to give up everything they could give up to get to 8 to overjump the New Orleans Saints. There's no chance they're going higher than the New York Giants and moving all the way up into the top 5. That's not going to happen. But I could see them saying, okay, he's at 15. Let's make a move. He's at 16. He's at 14. Let's make a move. Okay, he just passed Dallas. Let's make sure nobody else goes back up for him. And there might not be teams in that gap that you're worried about, but you're worried about the Saints coming back in. You're worried about a team making a move for Shedeur Sanders. And that's when I think they could make a move. I don't think they'd go all the way up to 8. I do think they'd sit there with contemplation at 12, 13, 14, and so on. And maybe at that point, they'd go get Shedeur Sanders. Wild that we've come here. But I'll say this. I'm okay with Shedeur over Jackson Dart and Tyler Shuck and probably Jalen Milroe. I am. I think that if you're going to take a quarterback in this year's draft, which the Steelers are most likely going to do at some point, then at least take one who's got the arm talent to make this thing happen. And Shedeur is a guy that has the arm talent to make things happen. He doesn't have the rocket, throw it 90-yard arm, but he's got a good arm. He's got limited mobility, which is concerning, but I think you can develop it a little bit and make him a guy who's elusive enough to at least escape the pocket and see what he could do there. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I would go Kenneth Grant. I would go potentially Walter Nolan. I would go Derek Harmon. I would probably go Mecca Ibuka, even though ESPN's Mel Kiper has him drop into the second round. Same with Kenneth, same with Walter Nolan. But Shedeur's up there. Like, I'd go Shedeur Sanders over a Matthew Golden. I'd go Shedeur Sanders over any other quarterback outside of Cam Ward. I'd go Shedeur Sanders over a running back. I'd go Shedeur Sanders over Nicky Muware or Malachi Starks. I'd go Shedeur Sanders over any of those guys. There's got to be conversation there. I'm not ruling out Shedeur where we sit here today. I was ruling him out yesterday. Updates constantly coming. That's the craziest part of this draft for the Steelers, is that we sit here. It's April 8th, 4:21 p.m. And the roller coaster ride continues. We still don't have an answer from Aaron Rodgers. The Pittsburgh Steelers still have no idea what they're doing at quarterback. They need somebody in the first round that's going to make an impact that's significant enough to change the course of this franchise, whether it's on defense or offense. And that's either a defensive tackle, an offensive lineman, a wide receiver, potentially a superstar safety, or a quarterback. And we have no idea because they're doing it in shifts. They brought in Trey Amos today out of Ole Miss, and you're sitting there thinking, why are you looking at a corner? Are you considering a corner? You bring in Nick or Donovan McMillan out of Pitt, and you're going, are you considering a safety in the middle of the draft? Is that when you're looking safety? It's just very interesting. The draft roller coaster right now for the Pittsburgh Steelers is all over the place. Where it goes, I have no idea.